SoulSpeak Living in Color, where we talk about inspirations, following your dreams, and what lights your fire. I'm your host, Sam Philyaw, Rainbow and Thunder Voiceover. You can find me at samphilyawvo.com. All right, hi guys, welcome and thanks for watching SoulSpeak Living in Color. Today I have the marvelous Christy Summers joining us. She's a good friend of mine. We studied together, trained together in a lot of the classes. We even started our businesses together for voice acting at the same time. So Christy is a multi-passionate voice actor. She does coaching. She can do anything as far as voice acting goes. Like, I've seen her do awesome character work, commercials, narration, like anything you need, this chick has got you. So she's also into like aerial fitness. She instructs fitness classes. You can go to her Instagram or social media and she's got pictures and it's really cool. And she also does a little bit of baking. I saw her make some cupcakes a couple of times, so they look pretty good. What we're going to be talking about today is Christy's journey in voiceover, how she got there, what she's doing, what her goals are, dreams, hobbies. I want her to elaborate a little bit on that. And we're also going to be talking about some coaching that she's doing. So if you guys are interested, stay tuned. So all in all, she has a great website where you can look at all this stuff, all of her projects, her demos, her representation. It's ChristySummersVO.com. So go check her out. And without further ado, welcome, Christy. I'm so glad that you're joining us. It's nice to see your lovely face again.
Sam, thank you so much for having me. I was so excited about this. What a great opportunity just to get to see you again, if anything else.
And have an awesome conversation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I remember in one of our classes when we got split into groups, you were one of the first ones that we had to talk about some kind of personal stuff of getting to know you and, just all of our passions and stuff. And I remember that and I was like, I really like this person. So great. So great.
I remember that too, because we had to go back and forth, the little explanation for you guys. It was like a 5-minute thing. We had 2.5 minutes to talk about whatever questions the other one had asked us. What are your deepest fears? What are your hobbies? What are your passions? What do you dislike the most? And we both went the answers and I was like, this chick is pretty awesome. And we're like, we're pretty similar, I'm not gonna lie.
I was not upset about my partner.
Right? A lot of the times group projects make me hate life, but not this one.
Yeah. This one turned out okay.
Right. Let's start off with that first question. So tell me a little bit about how you got started in voiceover, why you started, and what your journey has been like so far.
So I have to start years ago. I have had a 15-year plus career in corporate technology and 20 years in business. I've got a degree in psychology, a degree, an MBA in business management. So doing all the things right to meet expectations of the world, right? And I just got to a point to where my corporate career was more, I would say slowly killing my soul, but it was kind of speeding up near the end there. It was just taking things from me that I didn't want to give anymore. And I realized that when I was in customer meetings and I was like, I really don't care what your data center looks like. Just don't care. And when I got to that point of losing passion and losing care about my customers, because my customers are my number one thing that I focus on, highly, highly customer centric. And when I felt myself get to the point of I don't care, I was like, it's time for a change. But I didn't know what I was going to do. I had no idea. I ended up taking a year off and I did some soul searching. And I'm talking like the hard work, the kind of like tear-inducing soul searching.
Shadow work is what it's called, I think.
Is that what it's called? Is that the formal term? It's kind of like the ugly cry work of really figuring out who I was, regaining my own identity and what kind of things were important to me. Where did I want to go? And out of the blue, I happened to be reading to my kids one night, and my husband, usually that's a me and my, the kids type of thing. And my husband happened to be in the room, and I have to preface this, if he used to be a sound engineer in LA, and he looks up and he was like, you should really consider a career in voice acting. And of course, I'm like, huh? What? I don't even know what you're talking about. Like,
That's
what?
a thing.
Yeah, I was like, that's a thing. And so he told me a little bit about it, and it piqued my curiosity. I can't say I was sold on it because I really didn't understand. And at that point, I was like, audiobooks, that seems like a lot of work. But what I did, I ended up taking some introductory classes that really broke down some of what I would call the 3 pillars of voiceover, the 3 different categories, which is your character, your commercial, and your narration. And when I took those classes, I fell in love. I love to perform, but candidly, I'm not big on having the spotlight. I don't necessarily need to be out in front of everybody. And so I liked the idea, oddly enough, of hiding in a dark closet behind a microphone.
Me too.
I'm like, as much as I'm like out in front of people and networking and teaching, and I was like, ooh, dark closets sound great. And so, I was like, I really, really, really am intrigued by this. I connected with it on a level that I rarely connect with things. And so my husband and I had to talk a lot about the next step of that, because I am one of those people, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do something. Like, I am fully bought in, and there's no option for it to not happen. And I really wanted to know myself, to not, failure is a part of success, actually. And it was just one of those things of, there was a fast track program coming up, which meant very, very expensive. And in my world, because we were, a little bit financially strained at the point. So in my world, it was very, very expensive. And 3 weeks of nonstop classes. I think we ended up getting like 2 days off or something like that. So it is just pure, like, going right for this voiceover thing. We talked about it, and we determined probably like 3 days before it was supposed to start, let's do this. Let's give it a go. I connected with it in such a manner. I had done all of that hard work to kind of identify who I am, what I wanted, where I wanted to go. I know I wanted to do something more creative. And so I took the leap, and I was scared to death, you guys, scared to death. Of doing something. Was I going to make a mistake? Was it something I really wanted to do? I have no idea, because it was still an exploratory phase. All those fear blockers that pop up when you're curious about something and life just tells you, no, not today. And just all this fear. And so I said, you know what? I'm just going to do this anyway, because when I am this scared of something, everything that I want is going to be on the other side of that fear. Everything. Like, I have to bust through the wall. And I was like, worst case scenario, if I really didn't connect with it, I've met some lovely people, had some great experience, worked on some acting chops, that if that's a worst case scenario, lessons learned, right? But I have to tell you, the best of the best came out of it. And I am forever grateful that not only did I jump into voiceover, but I took a fast track program, because candidly, I'm a fast mover. Like, I'm not here to waste time. I love to create, I love to build, and I just connected. And so I just started that journey, made it through that fast track program, took a nap, because my God, that was a lot of work. Took a nap after that. And then I actually proceeded to take more classes, because I really wanted to refine my skills. So started taking more advanced classes, started building out my booth within, I think, like a week or 2 after, because we had some tech classes as a part of that. I really started diving in, and what did I need to have my own home studio? Because in today's day and age, the industry has wildly changed since BC, before COVID. I don't know if you guys have noticed the change in the world today, but voiceover sure got a makeover. And having an at-home booth is absolutely essential. So I'm like, how am I going to make this happen? And so the little bits of money that I was able to put forward, and the good thing about voiceover is you can do it without an extreme investment. And you can grow as you grow in gigs, which is so nice. Um, I went forth and I built out my home studio and I started practicing auditioning. I know that sounds kind of weird because they were really auditions, but I didn't expect to get anything because they had set up my expectations of, 200, 300 auditions before you even land a gig, that kind of thing. So coming in with that kind of expectation, I was like, well, girl needs practice. Like you don't just audition and magic happens, at least not in my world. And if magic happens in your world, props to you, play the lottery immediately. I am just not one of those. I got to practice. And
I mean,
so
I'm a
I
fucking
joined.
fairy, so I mean, just.
I know, right? I mean, I had no doubt about that. I had no doubt about the fairy. Me, I'm more like the ogre that manages the bridge. It's a lot of work to make this look good. So I started putting in the hours, started practicing, and just honestly, it just kind of took off. I found some people that I wanted to take private lessons with, just to really hone on certain skills. I found what's called a voice print of where kind of where my voice resides. It's warm, it's bright, it's polished. I come from corporate tech, right? Who's going to think that I can't do corporate narration? I've been speaking in front of CEOs for years. I just have to come across as polished. And so starting the process of really building a business out of it. And this is where all my education came in handy. And my corporate career that was slowly killing my soul was like, oh, this has use now. All right, okay. All the lessons I've learned over the last, 15, 20 years are now working in my favor. And I'm like, I can get down with this.
Amazing how that works out, isn't it?
I know, because you never know where your life's path is going to take you, right? Like, it's just, so I'm a big fan of luck is where preparation and opportunity meet. And I've been preparing for years on the business side of things. And so that was actually surprisingly easy for me to set up. Whereas I know a lot of creatives are like, business what? Like they're so creatively minded. I know, Sam, you don't know anything about what I'm talking about, right?
Right.
You and the rest of the creatives, right? I'm like that weird mix of creative and logical that doesn't exist in the real world. And I guess because I'm such a creative spirit, but I was forced into that, analytical and logical box for so long that it became natural to me. And I had trained myself up that way. And so setting up my business, really honing in on the type of auditions I wanted to do. And I'm that nerdy person. I have run analytics on the type of auditions that I've done, what I've gotten shortlisted for, what my auditions are. I can talk business about it all day long because that is what's made me successful, because now I can target my auditions and I land probably 10 to 12% of what I audition for, which is a high percentage considering, because usually it's like 3 to 5, something like that. So, but that's boring business numbers. Nobody wants to know that.
Watch out, Ann Ganguza, you've got a rival coming up.
I know, and Anne's brilliant on the business side of things, absolutely brilliant. But it's one of those that, and as I started, taking these classes, which you mentioned me coaching earlier, maybe with a history like mine, I was just kind of like, great, I'm going to use this for myself and really grow my own business. But as I was taking the classes, I found business for voiceover classes really hard to come by, really pretty hard to come by. There are 1 or 2 specialists out there. But to either find a class of theirs or to get in touch with them personally can be super expensive and rare. And then the business classes that I did find were more like here's 3 hours worth of PowerPoint with some great information in there. I'm just like trying to consume everything, and I understand business. So the people who don't understand business, brain is leaking out of their ears.
Right.
They are absolutely fried. What are they talking about? I don't know what's going on. So I know if I was feeling slightly overwhelmed, I can only imagine what others were feeling. And then you had to go back and take all this great information, process it, and apply it to what you were doing. So some of the things that I was like, not to, downplay anything that's out there currently, but I was like, I'm a coach and a teacher at heart. Like that's what I do. I've been teaching for a long time as well. And I was like, I can better serve my peers than what's out there currently. And so some of the coaching that I do is actually interactive and live and in person. And even the workshops, I'm looking to launch a whole bunch of workshops, webinars in 2022. And this is about, like they'll tell you, you have to invoice your clients. Great. Nobody tells you how to do it or where to get the information or how to do the bookkeeping. And it's like, how do I do all this? And nobody tells you these things unless you know to ask. And most of us don't know to ask, but to actually, or you have to identify yourself with a certain brand. Like you have, and you're like, well, what's a brand? What does that mean? What does that encompass? Nobody tells you any, like, how do I even figure out what a brand is? And it's so much more than colors, fonts, and logos, right? So to launch some webinars that come with a workbook that you can actually walk through the steps. So when you leave the workshop, you have something that's customizable to your business and what you are doing, whether you're a voiceover or another type of creative, artistic, dance, whatever, health and wellness, for all I know, you're creative and building a solution for people, right? And so that's where my coaching comes into play, is truly customizing a program and walking through the journey with people, because my passion in life, honestly, beyond voiceover, I love voiceover. I love my clients, but beyond voiceover is to see people succeed in life. Like I want people to be as happy as I am in life. I love my life. It is fantastic because I get to do what I want to do, which, by the way, is in a dark closet behind a microphone. It makes me happy. What can I say?
That was
so weird.
So detailed, yet so efficient. I love that story. By the way, that summer fast track we took was at Voice One, and we took that together. That was hell, but it was great. I loved it.
Right. It was great, but it was also.
I was working a full-time job at the time, on top of the whole 3-week full-time classes. So I was a little stressed at the end of it, but
I would think so. I would do that to you. And you're 3 hours off, right? Two hours off. So you're even later going than, yeah. I'm like, I feel you. But in the long run, it was really worth it, because some of the peers that I work with now, it took them years to get the education and the demo and the things going. So even though that 3 weeks was intense, buddy, intense, it was kind of like ripping off the Band-Aid and flying forward, but it was so much to digest. And there was a lot of times that I just had to ask questions again and again until my brain could absorb just the sheer volume of information that came at us. Because anybody who, thinks, well, I've got a microphone on my iPhone, I've got a voice, I could do this. I'm like, okay, let's do it. All right.
Let me see you try.
Because it's harder than people think it was. It was harder than I thought it was. And I actually respected the craft, learning, starting to learn it. I was like, ooh, okay. I mean, this is legit, and it's demanding in so many ways, not only vocally and performance wise, but from business as well. There's a lot of admin and you are a small business. I mean, at least the state of California takes my taxes all the time for it. So they think I am.
When did you start your business? Like what month?
So I made the mistake of starting my business in November, which means I got to pay my California state taxes, annual taxes, that for 2020 and for 2021, right back to back. So any of you looking to start small business, I've learned a lesson, come talk to me. We can start it. We can better time that where you don't have to suffer the consequences that I had to suffer and cry the tears that I had to cry. out of frustration, but I started it in November of 2020. So we started our lessons and things in July was the fast track, I think.
I think I started,
Mid-July.
I had already been practicing in trainings. My intro was in like April or May. I had already taken several classes at that point, but that was when the real grueling work began.
Yeah, it was in mid-July to early August.
Yeah.
And from there, I just launched because by the end of August, I had my booth already almost built out. I think I was one of the first to have, and I was coaching people on some of the materials and things to get for their booths based on their rooms, things that had worked for me, things that I had heard, pointing them to some of my resources that are brilliant in booth and tech. Because one of the best things about voiceover is the community is amazing and it's not cutthroat. And although it can be competitive, there are so many subjective decisions going on that are outside of our control that when a peer of mine beats me out of an audition, I really can't get mad about it because they're wicked talented. So, and I have no, I mean, they could have easily, excuse me, they could have easily have chosen me as this other person, right? So you get to cheer each other on. You get to ask each other questions. You get to practice auditions together. And it creates a community that is unlike any other that I've ever had. Because coming from corporate tech sales specifically, I mean, who could undercut who the best and who could, I mean, slice your throat right in front of you. I mean, it's just like unattractive. And I mean, there's blood in the waters and sharks are circling, right? But it's not like that with the voiceover community that I've found. Everybody is so willing to help and encouraging and kind. Just recently, one of my friends got a great gig. I mean, landed a great gig. And, we all celebrated with her and, had a meal together, celebrated. And it's like, I didn't get that gig. I auditioned for that gig. I didn't get that gig. But to be able to be supportive and be happy for her and help her grow her business too is super rewarding. Is super, super rewarding.
Oh, there's plenty of work for everyone. I mean,
so much. Yeah.
Even for me, we have auditioned for the same things. I don't know if you realized, but you've gotten a couple of gigs that I had auditioned for. And then I was like, well, I'll just grab what's next. Good for her. She did great at it.
There's always another audition. And if you keep in mind, because a lot of the things that can beat a person down about voiceover is it's not rejection because you just never hear anything at all. Your auditions go into this mysterious black hole, never to be heard from again. Right. You never know what happened. So it's one of those of submit and forget. I can't even tell you the things I auditioned for last week because I don't dwell on them. I don't think on them. No clue what I auditioned for last week.
Did I audition for a climate change spot last week? I don't remember.
Maybe. But it's like, but the thing is when I open my email and I land a gig, I'm always like, oh, surprise, this is fantastic.
Even if it's like a month later, if it's 2 months later, I've heard somebody say that a client came back after they auditioned a year later.
Yeah.
And they got the job. I'm like, you see, this is why auditioning is the job.
It really is. They weren't lying when they said auditioning is the job.
They beat it into us.
They did beat it into us. And I was kind of like, okay, I get that. But no, seriously, auditioning is the job. Like, if you're not willing to believe that, then you're gonna have to get some stamina and some real thick skin to make it through.
It's a rude awakening, let me tell you.
It is. It was definitely a bit of an adjustment because I'm at least used to being told no to my face. I'm like, oh, well, at least thank you for, closure on it, right? And now it's just out in the ether somewhere. And I'm like, I hope it's sending good vibes to somebody because I don't know what to do with it. So it's been an interesting journey to have to adapt to that kind of flow of things. But if you're not bothered by it and it doesn't get you down, I mean, I view it as an enjoyable part of my job because I get to play a million different characters and I get to learn so much random stuff from companies, you know, doing their e-learnings or their corporate narration, just bonkers, crazy information. And I'm such a nerd. I love to learn. And so I love to learn. And so I'm, you know, just random facts and figures about space or about this museum or about, I don't know, this alcoholic product or whatever, right? So it's actually really cool to have such a vast array of information coming at you. And I think that's one of the reasons why I really like voiceover as well. And
It's
then
so
you get
versatile.
yeah,
You're
it
doing
really
something different every
is.
day.
Every day. It is not mundane. I will tell you that. I mean, it keeps me on my toes constantly. And with all of the directed sessions that I get to be a part of, I have met some wonderful people, so great to work with. And I'm a very, very collaborative spirit. So to be able to join together and see the finished product, one of my customers just sent me the commercial that we just finished. And it was so fun to see all the animation and the music. And then there's that voice, you know, but all the animation and the music. And knowing that I get to be a part of that. I'm like, yeah, the voiceover. But I get to be a part of that, right? And it was really an honor to be able to work with a company that was so great. I've had some rough sessions too, to where it's like I could do no right ever. Like, and I don't even know why you picked me because I just not working. But you learn through how to just you learn how to work with people on a different level and on a creative level, and great minds coming together and just realizing that you're a part of a collaborative project is truly an honor to be a part of. And again, as I mentioned earlier, I am super customer centric. I adore my customers. And I'm the one who likes to stay in touch with them, likes to tell them, you know, happy holidays, or here's a fun random fact or a recommendation for a restaurant, or, you know, thank you so much for having me a part of a project. Here's some chocolate covered strawberries, or I bake cupcakes, and they are good, Sam. They are. At least people pay me for them. So I'm just saying that
Hey, if I'm ever in San Francisco, I'll come by.
I know, right? I know, right? And but to be able to say thank you and go above and beyond to communicate with my customers and treat them like friends, like peers, genuinely thankful for the opportunity that they're putting in front of me, because these are opportunities I could never get on my own. Like as a voiceover actor, I can't really do much by myself. It takes a team of people in order to create something great. And to be able to be a part of something and support others in that, it's just a wonderful experience. It's
Absolutely.
fantastic.
I completely agree. I do have one question before we move
Absolutely.
on to hobbies and other things.
Yeah.
What is your dream role? What is the one thing that you could say, I have made it in my goals and my career with this one role?
I know this is so hard because, like many a voice actor, animation is the holy grail of all things voice acting.
Disney, woohoo!
I know, right? And you and I, the Disney princess you are, and the villain I want to be.
let's get that funded, okay?
I know, right? I know, right? So I honestly, the role to make it to be in something like DreamWorks, Disney / Pixar, or even like a Netflix original that they're, you know, producing themselves. Amazon Prime has originals, things like that. To be an animated character. Video games aren't really much my thing, only because of the vocal strain. Mad respect for those who do video games, mad respect, because it's not something really within my range. My vocal cords tire pretty easily. So especially those aggressive games, I can't imagine, I can't imagine doing.
Ugh.
Yeah, I can't imagine it. But to be an animated character for a kid's show or movie or something like that would be a dream come true. And that is something that I also understand about myself. Coming from a corporate background, there is a sense of vulnerability that I can lack in performance. And so working on that currently, that's something that I'm working on. I have to be able to be that vulnerable actor to really interpret what that copy is saying in such a way that people can emotionally connect with that, instead of having that constant presentation and formal, look to it. So, and that is something that I've been told repeatedly, and I just take it in and take it in and keep working on it and keep practicing. And if I ever landed animation, it may be several years down the line, because it's a craft I really need to hone. And I understand that because animation's hard. It's really hard, not only just to perform for animation, but to get into the circle of people who do animation.
It is so tight knit, especially dubbing, because
yeah,
they just reuse the same voices and they're all really
yep.
great. But if you don't have, experience in dubbing, good luck.
Yeah. And the good and the bad about voiceover, and in a lot of creative industries, it's all in who you know. If they like working with you, if they can trust your work ethic, you're talented, and they like your personality and you guys get along, you are more likely to get repeat business. And that's true in a lot of businesses. So it's not like it's an unfair advantage to the people who have taken time to build up their networks. And as a newer voiceover actor, I'm taking that very, very seriously now, is to build up my network, to make those connections, to make those relationships, because it is a relationship-based business. So networking is, and follow-up especially, is so critical. And as I am growing and honing my craft and working on the relationships, I still have that kind of North Star that I'm going for in animation. And if I don't get there, next week or next month, I'm like, I get it, right? But if I did, I'd be like, fireworks would be going off all over the United States. I'd be so excited. I'm like, and I'm like, okay, I can die now. I'm done with life. Like, what more? It's amazing. It's amazing. So it's just really being able to see where you want to go. And I'm a big fan of just 1% better a day. Just do a little something to make a little bit better, a little bit of progress along the way. It doesn't have to be giant leaps for me. It's just chipping away a little bit every day to reach that goal that I have, which that dream job would be some sort of character in animation, preferably a Disney villain. So if anybody out there is with Disney, I'm here for you.
I love it. And I want to circle back because all of this applies to that one statement, and we're going to call it a quote now, that is just the icing on the cupcake. The more fear you have about something, the greener the grass is going to be. I don't know if exactly how you said it, but that's just how I remember it being interpreted by me.
Well, it's one of those that the bigger the fear, the more I know that I need to go for it. And everything I want is on the other side of that fear. And it's not like the grass is greener on the other side. The grass is greener where you water it. So if I'm in my own, so it's a mix of like two statements. Both I like very, very much, because I am one of those that is willing to put in the work to be, because my friends, when I was growing up, they're like, you're so lucky, you're so whatever. And I was like, you are binge watching a show, which there is a time and place for that. I'm all about it. But you're binge watching show after show after show after show. I'm here churning. And then you are turning around and calling me lucky when I am putting in hour upon hour upon hour of hard work. This is not easy. It's not easy. And it's a business. And so to those that call me lucky, it's like, well, thank you. But also I put in a lot of hard work to get where I am and where I'm going. And I would encourage anybody else to really, it's like, do you actually want something, or do you just want to want it? And that's something that you have to address with yourself, because nobody but you can determine that. And I determined I actually want it, and I will do what I need to do in order to reach my goals and chip away at that path in order to reach that dream job.
I love it. And you guys are going to really love this part. Talk to me about your fitness instruction. I want to hear about the aerial arts.
Oh, goodness. So years ago, So I am a pole dance and aerial instructor. I work at San Francisco Pole and Dance, and I teach about 5, 6, 7 classes a week, depending on subs and things like that. So I, years ago, I think this is like 2015, 16, something like that, somebody encouraged me to take a pole dancing class as a cross training to gain strength. And I was like, say what? Like, really? Because I was a marathon runner at the time and I had done some triathlons and, and as a runner, your legs go as fast as your arms do. So if you've got like really good core strength and upper body strength, you are going to pump your legs faster in running. So I was like, all right, I mean, I'll give it a go. You guys, that stuff is so hard. I walked in class and they're like, I got this. I got this. I walked out of class going, oh my God.
I'm so sore. My skin, it hurts.
Oh, the skin was hurting. The muscles were hurting. The ego was hurting for sure. And I was just like, I got to go back. Like, there is no end to this journey. And I like where it's going. And I tell you, I swear to you, I've never run another step in my life. Like, I gave up marathons altogether. And I have run 3 marathons, more than a dozen half marathons, triathlons. Like, that was kind of what I was doing. And I never looked back. I was like, Pole, you will be mine and I will conquer you.
Throw me in the fire.
It's amazing. I mean, think of like Cirque du Soleil, any of the like flipping and all the tricks and all the crazy, crazy actually like pole fitness stuff. It takes a wicked amount of strength. And so I just started in on that journey of, it helped me discover who I was. It gave me the freedom to be a little bit vulnerable out there because I didn't know what I was doing. You wear a little bit of clothes because your skin has to stick to the pole. It's not aesthetic. It's actually like you have to have skin to stick to the pole. Otherwise you go crashing to the ground and that's not fun. And so I just developed this relationship with circus that is just unstoppable. I train all the time. I teach all the time. That is my main hobby in life. I do not feel complete if I am not choreographing something, trying out some new crazy trick that people are just like, what? Just, and I have to say, like, I am over 40 years old and I am in better shape than I was in my 20s and 30s. It just keeps getting better and better. I never thought I would have 6-pack abs in my 40s.
You're over 40?
And I mean,
what?
Oh yeah. I'm
We're in your
almost 42.
20s.
I'm almost 42 years old. Yeah. But the thing is, I act like I'm 20. Like, I hang around mid-20 people all the time. Like, I mean, and it's funny because at the studio, some of them call me Grandma Christy because I'm an old lady and I'm just like, come on, you can all be my children. All of you can be my children. I'm the mother of the studio. And they just look at me and they were like, you are goals. Like, when we're old like you, and I'm like, thanks. Let's keep that one going. When you're old like me, thank you. You girls sure know how to give out a compliment, I'll tell you that. But it's something fun because the classes that I do teach beginning pole. And so if you've never done anything like this before, I've got a foundations class that I teach. I teach a couple of conditioning classes where I teach you how to go upside down. And we do a whole bunch of different conditioning drills. And usually people are just absolutely smoked at the end of that. And they're like, how can you do this and talk through the whole thing? And I'm like, humor keeps me alive, you guys, because this stuff's hard. It's really hard.
That's it. I'm moving to California, you guys. Bye.
I know, right? And then I teach a couple of intro to aerial hammock or sling. So not aerial yoga, but it's actual aerial hammock. But I train on aerial straps all the time. The hoop or lyra as it's called, I train on that. I love to fly. What can I say? Absolutely love to fly.
Do you perform in the circus?
So I actually don't. So that's one of those weird things, right? So I don't like the spotlight, which is super weird because all my friends perform in circus Like they're all in circus. I mean, some of them have actually been in Cirque du Soleil as brilliant. I mean, these are brilliant, brilliant artists. And a lot of them perform in local circus shows. So the circus community here in San Francisco is actually quite large. Um, and they're in shows all the time. I love to go see them. I love to go support them. And they're like, Christy, you should do a show. You should do a show. And the last time I was performing at all was in 2018. And I just kind of took a break because it takes so much time and energy to, really create the choreography and to get everything. To make it look easy is the hardest part because it is not easy. I mean, it is looking like I'm hauling my butt above my head repeatedly, and butts are heavy. I don't know if you guys know that or not, but butts are heavy. And I'm just like throwing all my weight around, and it just takes a lot to make it look easy. And it was getting to the point to where I didn't have the time or the energy or truly the effort that I wanted to put in to be in the spotlight. The spotlight wasn't that important to me. I will say that I have been an executive producer of a circus show. So I love the business of putting on a circus show. And one of my dreams in life would actually be to put on a circus show where these performers are paid what they're worth. Because if you're an artist out there listening to this, you know that you are not paid what you're worth. You know people are trying to undercut you, no matter what kind of art you are. As a voice artist, we get it. As an actor, you're going to get it. As a painter, you're going to get it. And as a circus artist, you're going to get it. And I want to be able to produce a show to where these people with the craft that they have and that specialized talent that they have are paid what they're worth. And the business of putting on a circus show, it's the business that lights me up. It's not the performance. I love to train for whatever reason, but I know it's like, why do you want to work out so much without, a goal? I love it. I love it. But I like to be behind the scenes more than I like to be in the spotlight. And it's just one of those things where I like to lift other people up. I love to see other people be successful in their passions because not everybody knows how to get to where they want to be. And if I can give people a space and give people a home and help coach them and grow them, that is more rewarding to me than my own success. And I know that sounds like super cheesy and yeah, she's faking it. No, seriously, like my students are everything to me. My customers are everything to me. And I just think, a high tide raises all boats. And when we are collaborative and when we are helping each other up, we're all going to be successful. There is enough room in this world for all of us and what we want to do.
This seems to be a common thing for your whole life, for voice artist, for fitness instructor, circ producer. I think that's very noble, honestly, because you're helping a lot of people succeed, even with just your business creative coaching.
That business coaching lights me up. I just get so excited. Did you guys see my eyes get like really wide when I was talking about
She's a very animated person. I don't know if you can tell.
No, I'm like, hey Disney, hit me up. I'm here for you. No, but like the business coaching is the best because when you're a creative brain, that's where you want to go. And if I can help break down these complicated business topics for you to make them in bite-sized, digestible, understandable pieces, because everybody uses that business lingo and you're like, what does that even mean?
Right.
And to be able to turn that around and help create a custom path for you so that you can do what you're meant to do, which is do your art. That business doesn't have to be that nasty, necessary evil over here. Let's make it palatable. Let's make it tolerable so that you can enjoy the entire experience of your business instead of loving something so much and then dreading something so much to where if you don't take care of this dread, it's going to take over your life to where you can't do the thing that you love most in life, right? And that's what's heartbreaking is when people are just like, I can't balance the books. I can't market myself. I don't have a website. I don't know how to talk to people and make those relationships. Well, let's make that all palatable and coach you through that so that it strengthens what you're able to do creatively. And you just like take off and just do your amazing things. And it's so exciting to see when it clicks with somebody and they're like, oh my gosh, I can do this. Like, this is way more tolerable than I thought, but the business world makes it super, super scary. I mean, without a doubt, the business world is like, oh, well, you've got to have your P&L for this, and you've got to look at it. And I'm like, right, stop. Like, let's not make it overly complicated. Break it down, make it palatable for those who just don't have that business mind or don't want that business mind. And you make it something that's acceptable and, dare I say, enjoyable. Make it that. I mean, careful.
Business?
Enjoyable?
Huh.
I know, right? Now, don't get me wrong. There's some really, really painful things. When you got to deal with the IRS, ain't nobody enjoying that. Like, it's just one of those, nobody's enjoying dealing with the government. But there are ways to make it to where it's really, really exciting. And people start reaching out to you for your talents because you have made yourself known and valuable. And that's where it gets really, really exciting. Some of the best business that I get is just repeat customers because I'm able to invoice them on time. I'm able to have clear communication with them. I'm able to turn my product around. In, like yesterday, I had a directed session. She had the final edited copy within 30 minutes. And she was like,
I see that all the time. Like, they're like, when can you send it to me? I'm like, I'm sending it to you as soon as we get off this call. What are you talking about?
But that's the experience that they've had is, they have to like bug folks like 24, 48 hours later. And I'm just like,
That's insane to me.
No. Like I'm here to make you the hero of your project, and you're going to need my piece of it in order to do that. So let me go ahead and get that off my plate. And that way you love me and you hire me again.
Please like me. I do everything for you.
I work so hard.
Yes, Vesta. So we know you do workshops with a few different people. Now, when you say you do coaching, can you do individual coaching as well?
Yes.
Like over a certain period of time?
Yeah. So I offer, it depends on what the person wants. And so I have done personal branding coaching. I have done marketing coaching. I have done bookkeeping and invoice coaching. I haven't coached anybody on networking yet. Because I think people are too afraid to network with me to ask me to teach them how to network. If that makes any sense at all, right?
Us creatives are pretty terrible at that sometimes.
We're pretty shy. Like, you're introverted and you're just like, I don't want to be rejected. And that's what networking is, and I am scared of nobody. Like, I'll walk up to anybody, make any sort of joke, talk about anything. Like, one of my best contacts, I got this massive plate of chicken and waffles for breakfast. She happened to be sitting next to me. And I just started talking about this chicken and waffles. And I'm like, do I take it as a challenge? Or like, how am I supposed to eat this thing? And so we just started talking. And it turns out that she's a development trainer for e-learnings. And she's got a bazillion customers who need voiceover. Funny. Okay, well, if chicken and waffles is going to get me some work, I'm gonna eat more chicken and waffles. Right? Like, I've never heard of chicken and waffles generating work for people, but hey, I'm here to tell you, it might work. But because I'm, afraid to talk to no one. So yes, the answer is yes, I do some personal coaching, and I typically price it based on what the need is, customized pricing for that.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So again, you guys, if you want to contact, because we already know Christy is a super fun, friendly person. You just witnessed her tell you that straight out of her own mouth.
Yes, I am fun and friendly.
She can be a little stern sometimes, but just don't get on her nerves, right? I think that goes for everybody. So check her out, ChristySummersVO.com. She has her email posted up there. You can send her a message if you want coaching, or if you are a potential client and you want some voiceovers from her lovely, lovely voice and home studio. The one last thing before we cut off, and this is the best, we've already gotten a few nuggets here, but whether it be for getting into coaching other people, getting into voiceover, or even starting a pole dancing class, fitness class, what is your number one piece of advice for anyone looking to do one of those three things?
If you're passionate about it, get over yourself, get over your fear, get over your hangups, and just do it. Worst case scenario, you learn something new about yourself. And isn't that all what we want to do? So get past whatever's holding you back and just try something new. You never know what you're going to learn about yourself. And usually it's something pretty magical.
There you go. I don't even need my notes anymore. I think she like hit the nail on the head with that one. And that's exactly what this whole podcast is about. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much for having me on. How fun is it just to talk with you again? I love it.
Right? We got to do this a little more often. I'm just going to say, I'm being the introvert that I am. I have a hard time reaching out to people and being like, hey, how are you doing? And
honestly, it's really hard with BC before COVID, everything was a little bit more relaxed. As we've all been so isolated, you have to take into account what that does to your mental health. And I'm also a big advocate for addressing mental health, but we won't get into that. But AD after, or AC after COVID,
hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully, as we're approaching AC, it's a whole big social anxiety is through the roof because we forgot how to talk to people. It was already hard before because we're always so behind our devices that we forget to how to have a conversation, which is one of the reasons why I will coach people in how to have a conversation, because it can be harder than you think. And especially if you're an introvert, as you're not going to believe this, but I am as well. Like I gain my energy off of time alone. But I have trained myself to talk to people. Just be gentle with yourself as you go back into the whole social thing, the pressures and the expectations of what society brings to us, where you feel and where you are at life. Take little steps at a time because it is scary. And the anxiety and depression that has happened due to the isolation that we've been in is real. It is very, very real. So everybody walk your own journey. Be gentle with yourself. Don't criticize yourself on how either fast or slow it takes you. It doesn't matter. Just take that small step, chip away at getting back to where you want to be.
It's super important. And the one thing I'm going to sign off on is, no matter what, don't let your trauma or your fear stop you. Don't let it rule you. That's the worst thing you could possibly do.
So one of my things, and I'll say that, yeah, you are so right. You've got two choices in this life. You can either let life throw what it's going to throw at you and you can deal with it the best you can, or you can fight for what you want out of life. And it is a fight because life is going to try to throw you things you don't want, but you can fight what you want out of life. And I am a fighter and I love my life and I love the people that are in it and I love the experiences that I have. But don't let that fear stop you. Ever let that fear stop you. Don't let it own you. It doesn't deserve that kind of power.
Anyway, all right. Yes, Christy, thank you so much for all of your wonderful nuggets and for sharing with us your story about your voiceover journey, your business coaching, all of these awesome things that you're doing, and for telling us a little bit about how you got there, because everybody's story, everybody's, how they did this is different, completely different. You run your business however you want to, and that's the great thing about having your own business, especially for voice artists. There's everything is new every day. Yep. You don't repeat anything hardly ever, unless it's the business thing, of course. But it's so much fun to do something that you love.
It really is. It really is. And that repeat of like invoicing my customers, I will repeat that all day long. That's the best part.
Business. All right. Again, look up Christy Summers. She's got you. I'm telling you, she knows her stuff. So go to her website. It'll be in the description of whatever it is that you're watching this on or listening to. And have a wonderful day.
Have a good one.
Thank you, Christy.